Welcome, precious souls, back into my space again. It's 4:14 on the clock. Ooh, interesting. All right, I've been receiving so many channeled messages, and then I started to realize some of them were combined with other memories and things that were popping up from my past, from my experience. It was really weird. And and then I'd say, okay, yeah, okay, I'll go share that channeled message as soon as I get a chance. First, I want to do this. First, I want to do that. And now it's all it's all in there, and it's like, gosh, that's funny, because it's like this. There's the memory is full, and then I went to do this video, and then partway through, as I'm sharing the channeled messages, the whole thing froze and it said memory full, like not enough space available. And it's just so funny how the universe talks to us, because I'm literally being called to purge stuff that is outdated. Like, I mean, it might belong to the version of myself that existed before this version, and it's like it's taking up space in my memory. It's taking up space, and I don't want it to slow me down. I don't want it to stall out what I'm trying to do with this new me that I'm rediscovering every time I level up, every time I learn something more, or I conquer more fears or move forward. I don't want anything pulling me back. No more chains, right? So I got to get these messages out. I actually went back and purged like a bunch of files on my computer so that I could do this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm getting it, because everything in our each moment has a meaning for us. Okay, everything has a meaning. And while I was receiving these channeled messages earlier, and I was reflecting back, I remember I was tying up my hair, because I'm like, you know what? I don't always have to have my hair down. I don't have to always do what I think I need to in order to be accepted at face value. Today I feel like wearing my hair up, so I'm not eating it when I'm doing things. So I'm not it's not in my way when I'm doing things. So today I chose to put my hair up. And then it reminded me, again, it just takes you down this path. It's like everything is a message, everything is important and relevant. While I'm sitting there doing my hair up, I went, wow, it's actually getting kind of long again. Because at one time, my hair was right down around my butt, right? And I remember I used to love the fact that my hair was long. And then it flashed back to this kind of icky point, that, and these points in time in my life where I remember that I used to perpetually be in a cycle where I was being bullied out of the home that I lived in by a narcissistic, abusive person. And each time when I get bullied out, it was made so toxic in that environment that I had no choice, out of fear of my own well-being, out of fear of my own preserving my mental state. Because anybody who's lived through narcissistic abuse knows that they're pretty much out to destroy you. They're out to destroy you psychologically, emotionally, physically, financially, every way imaginable, right? So each time I left, and yes, it took a lot of times, and I forgave myself for having to go through that over and over before I finally learned my lessons. But I remember each time I would finally get out on my own, and the first thing that I felt like doing once I finally, gathered myself and my footing, was to cut my hair. And I look back and I go, wow, I got a lot of haircuts that way. Because, and I didn't know why. I would just want to start over, start fresh, new me, and like just go get a haircut. That was always a part of it. And I remember, and then of course I was still in the trauma bond, so I'd be reeled back in after they were done with all of their other flings on the side, and they craved my energy supply again, and they'd try to reel me back in, and I'd end up back there lowering my self-esteem that much more, saying, yeah, maybe you're right, maybe we can make this work, buying into all the bullshit. Okay, in other words. And I'd be showing up again, and I do it all over again. The cycle keeps repeating, only getting worse and worse each time you prove that you will put up with their crap even more. It gets worse, more violent, more scary, more loss. Okay, but each time my hair was getting shorter and shorter. I was realizing that each time I got bullied out of the house and left again and got the haircut, it was my hair wasn't being able to stay. I wasn't staying away long enough for my hair to grow back. Okay, come on, guys. follow me on this, okay? This is actually very important. This somebody needs to hear this. And I remember one of the last few times I was leaving and I was lifting all my heavy bins of stuff again. I mean, absolute exhaustion, because the time that I was able to spend in my home each time was less and less and less, and I'd be pushed out faster, and then the mockery and the smirk on their face, knowing they were destroying you, destroying your body, destroying your mind, destroying your stability, your finances, everything. Each time you get out there and get more storage units to put more of your stuff and carry it all out by yourself, cramming it all in the car, destroying your car doing it, all of it, and watching them laugh as you're sitting on your knees, screaming and crying, almost feeling completely insane, which is exactly what they want you to look as they're videoing it on their phone, screaming in agony with not even knowing how you could let yourself get to this point, how much more you could take, and always promising yourself, no more, don't go back, and don't ever put up with their crap again. Don't buy into their lies. Don't buy into their manipulation. Don't buy into any of their future faking and their gaslighting. And no, it's not you. It's not. Just get out. Get out and save yourself. Don't forget your pets on the way. The rest of the stuff you can leave, because you can replace everything else. Don't leave any of your children and your little precious creatures behind for those monsters, okay? That was pulled to the side for a reason. I'm sure I was meant to say that for somebody. But as I was there today putting up my hair, because it was finally, I'm like, it's had time to grow. It's been like years now, okay, where I chose me. I didn't go back anymore. It was not easy, okay, because each time I abandoned myself and brought myself back, I would lose more of my financial nest egg that I had. I would lose more strength. The lesson got harder each time. So the last time that I finally left and said goodbye to my home with that in it, and I finally chose to start again from scratch, the resources were not as readily available. A lot of it had to do with sheer willpower and absolute. The fear became greater in staying in that than my fear of stepping into the unknown and showing up for myself. So, in saying that, my hair has been allowed to grow. My new home has been allowed to grow. Everything has been allowed to grow, and I didn't realize the passage of time and just how much time had passed, because I used to be terrified. Will I always be alone? Will I be able to do it? How long is it going to take to rebuild? This time flew by, and each time I chose me over some of the toxic people that have tried to come into my space and take what's mine or squish my light, and that I chose myself instead and kept them away and kept my boundaries. It has allowed me to build somehow, somewhere along the line, the strength to be my absolute authentic self. I offer no apologies for who I am, because you have no idea where I had to walk through, what I had to allow myself to abandon myself through, and then finally grow strength through. No one will ever know, even the people that saw in my life that walked alongside me will ever know what courage it took to get to this space where I am unapologetically myself, because I had to show myself and stand up and be there for myself when no one else would, and not abandon myself. And I had to let my hair grow in some dark spaces where I was rubbing change together to get by. And I had to free fall into this trust between myself and divine spirit, that somehow, something, some way was going to work out, and it was going to be okay, because I chose the path that was going to take courage to be myself. I chose me. And now my hair is ever growing. And now I share my story with others. This table, I have done so many readings for so many incredibly beautiful souls that have found themselves to my space. This space. You know what this space is? This was not the way it was supposed to be. I purchased this house because I needed a place to land that was safe for each time I got kicked out and bullied out of my other place by my partner. Okay? This space was originally supposed to be my retirement plan. It was my rental. It was my rental space. And eventually I had to leave and actually take the upstairs living space and live there to have safety. Okay, that was not the big plan. That was not the plan. The rent that was being paid in this house was supposed to pay itself off so that I could retire one day. Okay, not on the back of anybody else, because no one else has ever handed out money to me. Okay, this is not, and certainly no partner in life I've ever had. So, in saying that, the space I'm in right now, okay, I was renting it at a reduced rate to some people I loved like family. Okay, I loved them like family, and I kept not choosing myself. I would see that they were struggling and I would help, and I would see that they were struggling and I would help some more, until finally I had emptied out my cup, my own cup. It was depleted. And then when that ran dry and I couldn't offer that to anybody anymore, their mask flew off. This place was absolutely trashed. Absolutely trashed. I had just renovated it and custom renovated it specifically for the people I cared for to rent this place. It was destroyed. And when I talk about dog and cat feces all over the place, oh, I can't even. I won't even. It was not meant to be smoked in. Everything was completely like disgusting sludge, handprints on walls, yellow everything, and destroyed. Okay, it was totaled. All the flooring had to be ripped right up, right down to the subfloor. It all had to be ripped up. I heard so many times through the vent the disgusting laughter, and I remember the words coming from that dear soul's mouth saying, "When I'm done with you, you effing bee, you will never be able to rent this place again." And then the sadistic laugh. Okay, so I'm trying to help you see exactly what I had to have courage through to get where I am, and why no one will ever, ever be able to convince me that I am not strong enough to handle what comes into my world. So, in saying that, and then realizing in time that I am a transmuter of very dark energy. Okay, I was put on this path to learn that I take all of these negative, narcissistic, abusive, horrible energies, and I actually fuel building my dreams by taking that darkness and all of the feelings that it evokes inside, all of the pain. And no, I don't lash out and hurt others with it. I use it to create. Okay? That is my gift. That is my gift. I have always been able to take what other people have tried to throw at me and use those bricks as building blocks, and taking that, the pain, and transmuting it into massive drive to push me forward and to keep climbing. And in time, I learned where the bricks were coming from. And I didn't throw them back. I kept using them to climb. But I also learned that I needed to stop allowing the brick throwers in my energy space, because I can build without the bricks that others are throwing at me. I needed to learn that by doing it the hard way. So, coming back to You can see this space. I get so many people through here, and they're all really impressed with the energy that this place has. It's like magic in here, guys. I have so many amazing light spirits that gather here, ancestors of people getting readings. Just the most loving, beautiful energy. So, yeah, I completely renovated again within 2 years. Renovated this lower space, and I laugh and I say, "You're right, my dear. I will never rent this space again. Not right now. Because this space, albeit forced upon me, you helped me to see that this space was for me. So without a rental income, I'm still here and I'm still laughing. I'm still shining, and I am helping other people find their purpose. Some of them come through that door and we meet at this table. Other people I'm meeting on the street. Now that I am not in this isolation and this narcissistic space where I didn't believe in myself and I kept looking outward for understanding and love, once I started pouring that in and got rid of the brick throwers, my whole heart opened right up. It absolutely opened. I was always worried, well, will I feel alone? No. Are you kidding? I've got so many divine spirits all around me. My ancestors, we walk in such strength. And I know that my divine counterpart will be with me. My truly worthy divine counterpart will be with me very soon. But meanwhile, I'm not afraid to walk alone, because I'd rather walk alone than have bricks thrown at me from the people that pretend to be something so that they can steal what I have. Okay? So these are all the channeled messages combined, full meaning, only I'm using my experience to explain to you that you are not alone on this path. You are never alone. You are merely being challenged to choose yourself. Now, while I was going through these channeled messages, some of the memories that came back, and some of them are really old memories. But I remember when I was going through this last toxic cycle, and we get wisdom from everybody all around us all the times if you just listen, okay, in the moment. And I remember my dad asking me once, when I had gone through one of the violent things that I went through in the last toxic cycle, my dad saying, do you believe this is love, really? Like, is this what you call love? Because when they could turn it on and off with a switch, that's not love. And I didn't listen to him at that time because I was in the trauma bond, okay, where you're literally in a trance. You're under some spell they've got you under, and you're just like, whoa, you hear what you want to hear, right? But that's still lodged in there. And it went along with another memory that my dad had asked me, even many years before that, with a boyfriend. I was very young, but a boyfriend that was very toxic. And I remember that I was pretty much put on a shelf when that boyfriend wasn't interested in me, and I didn't understand anything about that kind of behavior. I was very, very pure, very innocent, and quite naive throughout most of my life. Although, and I treasure that too. And that's the naive isn't there, but that purity's still there. They couldn't take that, okay? But I remember he kept pushing me away when he wanted to be with, turns out to be, he was like sleeping with all my friends because I wouldn't put out for him. I was very young. But anyways, we won't go there. So I would cry and cry, and he was lived very far away from me. And back then, it was different. We had landlines. We didn't have cell phones, and long distance calls were long distance calls. And I remember crying my heart out, like, because I realized someone had said they found him with one of my friends, and I just needed one of those 45-minute long conversations to see, could this be true? Please reassure me, lie to me, tell me this isn't true, right? And I remember now in my house, we had rules. We were all held accountable. We were always accountable. which I am very grateful for looking back, because it taught me to be accountable in my life, which was very empowering. I look at in the long run, very empowering to be held accountable for your own actions and choices in life. And so when we made a long distance call that was going to cost a lot of money, because like that was going to cost some money, I remember going to my dad and saying, I need to make a long distance call, and the tears in my eyes, and I'm sure that, probably didn't feel good seeing, he knew the situation, and he's seeing that here you are, you don't even see what you are, and you're literally going to go back and beg for attention and love, beg for this. And his way of really snapping me out of it was I held my money up because I need to make a long distance call to him, Dad. And Dad said, kind of held his money back, for his hand back, and he goes, you need to ask yourself right now, is he worth that money? Is he worth this long distance call? Ask yourself, is he worth, you work hard for your money, is he worth you paying out that much money for a long distance call? And I don't know what it was, but he always seemed to say the right things. And it snapped me out of this. And it actually really, it almost was borderline a feeling of, am I going to shame myself? Even though shame is not really a healthy thing either, but how dare I let somebody lower myself? That I will pay a lot for this phone call at the time back then, just to get some kind of validation from somebody who's clearly unhealed. I don't know, something snapped at me, and Dad said all the right things. I took my money back, I put it in my pocket. I was being tested. Will you choose you? Will you choose you and sit with this discomfort, see the lesson in it, and choose yourself? I chose myself that day. Now, that's not to say I wasn't all the way through my years, because I was meant to understand what it feels like to need to choose yourself all the way through your life. Prove that you have value for yourself without the external validation, okay? These were all choices that I had to make, and I make every single day. If someone comes to my door or they show up in my space and they are forcing me to choose between my value of myself or them, I choose me every shot, every time. I have given up really amazing jobs that I loved. I loved my jobs, especially the last one. I really loved my job. I got to deal with the public all the time. I love people. I had to give up that full-time job with weekends off and some of the best pay I've had ever, because I was being bullied by a narcissist there. And that narcissist had the power to really hurt me there. They were someone I was made to answer to. I had to give up that job because I chose me. Yeah. And all through life, such exhaustion and frustration at why do I have to watch everybody else do so amazing in life, not having to rebuild like me, because I had to keep choosing me and leaving where I was. Why did I have to keep doing that? Why have I had to keep starting over? You know why? It was training. I was literally being put through training, and now I live my life purpose. I have a few purposes, and I am fulfilling all of them. And what is